Now we'd like to introduce two new items that we've brought into our inventory here. Of course, you can see these have nothing to do with solar cooking, and some people wonder why we carry them since we're all about solar cooking. But these are what they call a rocket stove, and many of you are familiar with these already. This one is the StoveTech rocket stove that's been around for several years. And this one here is what they call the Grover rocket stove. Both of them operate on the same principle. Very similar in design, they just look slightly different. The materials that they use are somewhat different. This one's all steel with an insulated interior between the two, the outer and the inner shell here. As far as diameter within the oven or the chimney itself, they're pretty much the same on both ovens here. This one's probably a little bit less bulk or mass here. It's a little bit more compact, has a carrying handle as well. Used for dumping ashes also. It has a couple of, or 3 legs that'll come on and off just by screwing them on and off here. It's made out of heavy gauge rolled steel, insulated as I mentioned. This one over here, the StoveTech, is also insulated as well. They both have a feeding system that has a small tray or a rack system so that you can feed your fuels in through here. And so you lay either 2, 3, 4 sticks of fuel on there at a time and just feed them in as you need. And the way these work is you'll start a fire right down through the top here with kindling, paper, whatever it is that you have to start your fire. And then you can put in through the top a few pieces of wood as well until your fire gets to going. And then after that, just feed your wood in through the mouth of the rocket stove. And doing that, you'll use a very minimal amount of biomass fuels, and that's the whole reason behind a rocket stove. It's just far more efficient way of burning biomass fuel than almost any other system out there. And the reason it was designed for biomass fuel is because it can be used in third world countries where they have a desperate need for a lot of these fuels. So you can burn grasses, leaves, weeds, kindling and wood, even buffalo chips if you wanted to. I've heard people say palm fronds in tropical countries, coconut husks, anything dry, biomass that'll burn inside of these. And they burn so efficiently because of the draft that feeds in through the bottom and up through the top that you have very little smoke. It combusts even the smoke, and it has a very hot fire, so most of the heat is going straight to your cookware right here on top. This one here, the StoveTech, actually comes with a collar that you can mount around your pot and help to even maintain a bit more of the heat, about 25% more of the heat next to the pot as well, and also stabilize it a little bit. If you notice here, the StoveTech has a little bit broader surface, so you can get a little bit larger pan on this one than you could on this one. But I've seen pots and pans on this one that work just perfectly as well, and they cook about the same amount of time. Both of these stoves, they're just a little bit different design. Both of them are very well insulated. So some people that are considering using it as a house or a tent warmer or something like that, they're not super great for warming just because they're so well insulated. They don't radiate a lot of heat. Most of your heat comes right up through here to the pot and the pan, which is where you want it for more efficient and effective cooking. Well, that's the StoveTech and the Grover rocket stove. And because we know that you cannot have sun 24 hours a day everywhere and that, and you're wondering how you're going to cook your food because you didn't get it solar cooked, well, here's the next best method right here, the most efficient method, a rocket stove.